How's it going today? I'm going to talk about this mobile sit stand workstation. Now, to assemble it, it is pretty straightforward. I'm going to go over each step. First thing you want to start with is the feet here. Now, you're going to want to flip them upside down and you're going to put the wheels on. So there's two parts to it. There's one that has two pieces that are kind of closer together, and then there's a space where you would actually like kind of put your feet when you're standing in front. That's where you want to put the locking wheels. Now, the locking wheels would go in the back, and then the front ones are just the regular ones. To lock these in place, you're going to want to screw it, but you can't really screw it because the wheel will free spin. You have a wrench and two nuts on each wheel. The nut closest to the actual wheel, that's the one you want to turn to like lock the screw in place. And then the other nut is actually an adjustment nut for the height. So you can kind of adjust the feet to make sure that you have a level stand. After that, you have these little plastic pieces. That's basically like a little washer for the actual stand. So it's not metal on metal, it's a piece of plastic. And then you're gonna have these two smaller screws and they're gonna go from the bottom. This part was a little tricky to get the screws from the bottom. It would be better if you had somebody help hold it while you did it, but if you can do it by yourself, it does come with an Allen wrench. I used a drill after I got them started to kind of lock these in place just to go a little quicker. The main thing with assembling these legs is you want the arms facing where those longer parts on the bottom are, because that's where your like platform here for like a keyboard or whatever, a mouse, that's going to go that way. You also want to make sure the notches are going inwards. After that's assembled, the first piece of wood you're going to assemble is this bottom one. Now the bottom one has screw openings that can accept it close to the edge of the wood. That piece is actually going to be closer to this long leg part on the bottom. So if you mix it up, you'll be able to tell right away that it just doesn't look right, but that is something that I noticed. After that, you want to put this cross piece in. So the cross piece is going to be your base, and that's going to be just a couple screws going downward. Pretty simple there. After that, you're going to have these arms that extend, and these extended arms have three holes. Now, the way the holes line up is you're actually going to go with the two that are closest to this inside, but the stick is going to go outwards. So you have the long stick outwards, but you want to go with the two closest screws inwards. And the reason being is the third screw is going to actually lock this top in place. After that base piece is attached, you're going to put this platform. This one is very simple. I believe it's both the same distance, so you can actually flip it around. It doesn't have a certain way it has to go. This top one, though, does have a certain way it needs to go. Very similar to before, it has a couple holes that are close to the edge of the wood. That one's going to be closest to this actual like bar that holds the whole piece. So if you mix it up, you're going to tell it probably won't fit. So you're going to want to have it that way. Lastly, you're going to want to put this top piece in. Now this top piece has a couple of like cut out holes. That's so that this will sit flat. It actually goes on top of the two screws that we used previous. Very simple there, but you can't mess that up because it only goes the one way, much like most of the platform pieces. Once we're done, you want to adjust these feet like I mentioned earlier, and then to work this mechanism, you're going to want to unscrew these so that they're both loose. Once they're both loose, you can actually lift up. You want to have hands on both sides to lift it up straight. You will hear it lock at each little spot. When it's locked in place, you're going to want to tighten down the screws. In order to go back down, you're going to have to lift this all the way up until you see the line that says max. When you lift it another inch or so, it'll say down. Once you reach that spot, all the locks will kind of release and you can slowly lower. I would go all the way down at that point and then start going back up to your exact spot that you want to have it at.